Did it start? Yep. All right. So I got to just hop over to the.
Cool.
Let's see here, dashboard. YouTube, and it should be. Give us 1 second, everybody. One person that's watching. Give us 1 second.
That is actually me.
Oh, that's you. Sorry, I thought it was my mom.
Yeah.
Bears GM Ryan polls. It's polls, right? Polls, like as in smoked.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. POLES.
Asking his. Bingo. All right, so that's shared. So now I'll just pop over to the regular tweeters and throw this sucker out.
All I know is I saw Mrs. Beefloaf post a message about banana bread. Now I'm hungry, damn it.
Oops, I can't spell. There we go. And midway. Entrance, not entrance. I don't even know if that's a word. All right. Gosh darn it. The only hard part is it takes so long to get all these things launched out, even though they're like basically typed ready. All right. Boom. All right. Let me close that. Close that.
I know everyone's so excited seeing how the sausage is made here.
The sausages are made this way. Yeah. Use this, Sally. This is how we make the sausages. We use chicken sausages. No, I got nothing. All right. So let's see here. Let's get the old intro up. All right. Gonna hit record now. Turn your volume up, mine down a little bit, so I'm not super loud, doucher. And here we go. All right. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's time for the Tainted Glove, starring your favorite man of questionable character, Aloha Mr. Hand.
Hey, bud. Let's party.
And the Holy Reverend K-Fidz himself. It's go time, so grab a beer, grab a bite, and settle in. It's time for the Tainted Glove.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, January 25th. I am one of your hosts, your friend with questionable character, Aloha Mr. Hand. With me, as always, is the Honorable Reverend K-Fidz, who, by the way, has a life-altering experience to tell us about later. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And we will also have a couple of special announcements spread out throughout the show. So with that, we're just here to offer our services to new Bears GM Ryan Poles and trying to help him make the Bears become the monsters of the Midway once again. With that, K-Fidz, take it away.
I'm so glad you finished that sentence because all I heard was we're just here to offer our services, and then my mind went in 4,000 different directions, and I was thinking about grabbing some chapstick. But welcome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate you all showing up tonight. Got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk some Bears, new huge Bears news. depending on who you are. It might be great news, might be disheartening news, whatever. We're going to talk that. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit. There's life-altering. I had one of those life-altering linchpin moments today, so it was quite a to-do. Definitely want to talk about that. But we're also going to get into the Hall of Fame voting. We're going to talk about some of the new the possibilities for the Bears head coaches, obviously. But the Baseball Hall of Fame released its entrance for this year's class, and it obviously rubs a lot of people the wrong way, especially because of who made it and who didn't. But there also was some good news for Sox fans, at least, about one fan favorite that's going to stick on the ballot for a little bit longer and get that opportunity. We're going to talk about the playoffs this past weekend, which may have been the greatest playoff ending of all time. And, of course, the demise of the narcissistic one that's silenced and on 47 different podcasts and on 40 different channels, the guy that is being so silenced that he's literally on every channel I turn on and all over the news, Aaron Rodgers and his stupid top knot. We're going to talk a little bit about Peacemaker with John Cena. Fantastic. If you guys didn't know, it's the highest rated DCEU property of all time. So pretty cool that show is got the highest ratings. James Gunn has knocked it out of the ballpark again. So we'll talk about that a little bit. I finished Ozark, the first half of season 4 today. It doesn't finish until the fall, I believe. Definitely want to talk about that because I was shook, I tell you. And then we'll talk a little bit more. We're also got some really huge announcements today. 2 very big ones. Very excited for us, me and Pete, just with Tainted Glove and what we would like to call now the Tainted Glove Network, as well as some special guests that we're going to be welcoming for some very special episodes down the line here in the next couple of weeks. So we got a lot to cover. And so I guess first thing we want to talk about today, before I crush into my first can. It's really hard to say. This is a Highboy Cranberry Sage, by the way. It is non-alcoholic, but it does have 5 milligrams of THC. So I will sleep like a baby tonight. But it's also cranberry sage, and it's delicious. So anyway, I'm going to keep throwing this on here until Can sponsors our show, by the way. We need that sponsorship. They just took a picture of me as I was leaving the store with 6 bags of these because they were doing a buy one, get one free. I'm like, I'm stocking up for like the month. And she took a picture of my feet, which was weird because the bags were hanging low. So she took a picture of my feet, the bags, and my sack. So that was pretty cool. And anyway, so we got a lot to talk about today. So let's get right into it first. The Chicago Bears, after, last time we were on the air, we talked about how they had let Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, being him, took off. So being you now means riding the bus home and getting a job at McDonald's, but or whatever he's at. Mm-hmm. But the Bears today, and what's been pretty feels like a very slow process here. But the Bears finally, and they didn't put the cart ahead of the horse. Thank God. We've been worried about that for a little bit. They hired a general manager today. So now they can finish the selection of a head coach. And so today the Bears announced, or maybe they haven't even announced it officially, but it's broken that they've hiring Ryan Poles. He was the director of player
personnel
for the Chiefs, for the Kansas City Chiefs, correct? Which talent-wise, that no franchise finds talent better, I don't think. And so he's been hired, came in, former Bear. I know there's always have to be a Bears tie with the McCaskies. He was an offensive lineman, I believe. He was a big dog. He was a huge, big hog molly back in the day.
Yes.
Big guy. He obviously doesn't look like most linemen when they retire. A lot of them drop the poundage too. He looks like Mark Schlereth, who looks nothing like he played yet. Schlereth.
Another great example of that is Tom Thayer.
Yep. So we got polls now. So since now we're smoking polls, let's think about what are your thoughts, Pete? I know that you've been waiting with bated breath to see where the McCaskies, who the McCaskies will pick up at the airport because they don't want to go back twice because that will cost parking twice. So what do you think?
Well, first how will Ryan Poles do? I do not know. All of the accounts I've read from some people that I like their opinions, others that I don't, it seems to be a consistent, very big thumbs up from everyone you read about this move. I am not that familiar with the guy. I mean, let's face it, we really didn't hear his name till late last week about. So
right, yeah.
There's not a lot of track record there, or a lot of time to go through the track record of everything. I am glad that they hired the GM before the coach, because in theory now the coach can the coach and the GM can be in unison since it follows the proper chain of command. And it isn't my guy over here, your guy over there, that kind of crap. First off, I want to comment something about the picking up at the airport last night when all hell broke loose on Bears Twitter about this. And I'm of two minds on the pickup thing. One, I think it's a very nice family type of move. Okay. Now, on the other hand, you're a $4 billion fucking franchise. I think you could call Windy City Limo and hook it up for you. I don't think that would be a big problem. The only thing I could think of is that Virginia told George, if you want to get him a limo, it comes out of your allowance or something. That's the only reason I could think of. He went to go pick him up at the airport because why wouldn't you get a limo? Do you think Jerry Jones or Robert Kraft would do something like that? No, first of all, it would be private jet, not coach, for God's sakes. Then it would be limo to take you to, a room at, I don't know, the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons or someplace like that where you may stay overnight. And then you show up in the offices in the morning. And this part I'll give the Bears credit for. They identified their man. They did not let him leave without an agreement. So I give them all the credit in the world for that. They did that part right. But you keep hearing other stories trickling out and you get more and more concerned. Something you forwarded me the other day, Ryan Dobal, other story. Whoa, hey, feedback. Sweet.
That was weird.
Ryan Dobal did not like the way the process was being handled. And I could sort of understand it because you were interviewing coaches and general managers on different tracks. So if you don't know who, for example, I've interviewed at jobs, and I know this is comparing apples and oranges. I get it, people. But I've interviewed at jobs where I met with the person who would report to me, and I didn't meet with the person who would report to me. Let me just say that the likelihood of me taking a job in an organization where I did not get to meet the person I would report to, I have two words for that: slim and none. So I can see why he would be sort of put off by that model at that time. And also, honestly, he may already have something lined up with the Giants. And it's just a matter of going through the finalities of a contract and signing the paperwork too. But I give him credit for getting the GM in place, identifying the man they wanted, and getting it done, and not playing games and doing the Dave McGinnis crap or anything like that.
Right.
Or did you know, I just read this, I never knew this, that Bruce Arians was in a hotel room in Lake Forest waiting to go meet with the Bears when they announced that Mark Trestman was becoming the head coach?
Oh, geez.
Yes. You have that. Then you have the story that came out today about Ryan Pace needed to have the hotel, the hotel transportation take him from the hotel to Hallis Hall. They couldn't even send a car for him. I mean, come on, people. But they got the guy in place. Now, hopefully we can get the head coaching figured out in the next couple days. My fear is, I still fear Leslie Frazier. And again, it is not a knock on Leslie Frazier. But I want them to hire a coach who can take them into the future, not hire a coach who is linked to their past and go, well, he knows what it takes to win here. He's an 85 Bear after all. 36 fucking years ago, people. As a matter of fact, tomorrow would be the 36th anniversary of Super Bowl 20. January 26, 1986, Super Bowl 20. 36 years, people. Let it go.
Honestly, like we talked about it last week too, or last time we were on the air with Justin and Yumper. There's a lot of Bears fans that obviously they weren't even a zygote.
Yes.
Their dads and moms were still haven't hit puberty or might even be able to produce zygotes by the last time the Bears won.
Yes.
Well, so that throwback, I mean, it's a tired act. It's a tired act after 10 years. I mean, it's a tired act after 10. You know, we're pushing almost 40 now at this point. We're getting into half the Cubs and White Sox futility at this point, which is in essence Milwaukee Brewers futility. So it is. We're at this point where it needs to. We appreciate what they did, but we need to stop with this infatuation. Let's be honest too. Now I know it sounds terrible saying this. The players from the 85 Bears are now at that age where let's talk about
they're senior citizens, for God's sakes.
And the head injuries are probably going to start manifesting themselves a little bit more, unfortunately, because it still was 1985 and they didn't care.
And so, look at Dave Duerson as an example. Rest in peace, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
There's a prime example
Mongo.
right there. Right.
Mongo too.
Yes, look at Mongo now.
So it's time to go younger. And, the pick with Poles is great just because he is a younger dude. He's not Ryan Pace, slickster like kind of personality. He looks like a dude that goes to work and understands talent because he was one of the talent. And, if you're an offensive lineman that has to work for a job in the NFL to make a roster, you're a dude that understands the game and what's necessary to find a way, despite the fact that you're not physically the best athlete out there at that point, as far as an offensive lineman is concerned. So that tells me a ton about the guy's work ethic as well. And, he's thought of really well. And today, he's right to work. I think Caldwell came in for an interview today. I think they said that, what's his name? The guy from the Colts, Eberfluss is scheduled for tomorrow. Now, did they get Quinn in?
I've heard Quinn is tomorrow as well.
Okay, so they got Quinn. So they got the favorites, if you will, right now.
So basically, they're doing a morning and afternoon shift tomorrow.
Correct. Yep. And hopefully they're going to do a mock press conference. We won't do that shit.
With the McClaskeys?
Yeah, right.
Who was that? Russ Grimm was that?
Oh, goodness. That was terrible. And here's the thing, and I like the pick. I like Poles. I'm good with it. There's a lot of people in football that think it's a home run.
Yes.
I saw a lot of posts saying this is just a good pick. It's a great pickup. But Poles aside, I mean, how bad a look is it to have video at like midnight of the millionaire owner or whatever, family member owner, whatever, president, whatever you want to call him, the
CEO of the organization,
Jr. of the MAGA here, if you will, the son or whatever, picking up these dudes at the airport. Like I still can't get over it. And it's such a poverty franchise kind of thing to do.
Yes.
And like you joked about it earlier, but I mean, I'm looking at this and how bad are the optics? You're trying to sell yourself to these potential head coaches. And I've heard from a couple different people that Daboll thought the Bears were a shit show, didn't enjoy it, didn't like how the Bears operate. So he flat out said, no, thank you. He chose the Giants over this mom and pop organization that's probably going to, if the Bears front office, if the mom and pop of the Chicago Bears was like a restaurant in your neighborhood, it would close up shop after a year with the way these people operate. They wouldn't put it in the product. You got to spend money to make money in this world. And to see the McCaskies, you see what Minnesota's doing. You see what Miami does. You see what the Broncos are going to do. Do you think that for a second, Jerry Jones is going to meet somebody at the airport and walk him to his car and drive him? Hey, hop into my Kia, buddy. We're gonna get you to your hotel. Where did he stay? Probably like a Motel 6 or something on the side of like Lake Street, for all we know.
That's the difference between. Yeah, that's the difference between some of these organizations. Look at the Patriots. Look at the Cowboys. One could argue that obviously the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in the NFL.
Sure.
One could argue the Patriots are the second most valuable. You might have an argument with the New York Giants just because of the market, but the Patriots, and do you think you'd ever see Robert Kraft or Jerry Jones doing that? No chance in hell.
Pete, UNLV basketball.
Yeah.
When they hired TJ Otzelberger and his Cavs a couple years ago, took him in a helicopter, rolled out the red carpet, had a marching band waiting for him at Thomas and Mack. A big old welcome. That shows. That's some of the pomp and circumstance that tells people you're wanted.
Yes.
Picking a dude up in the middle of the night like he's some, like you got a side piece coming into town while your wife's like on vacation, like that. It's just shit, man. And it's part of what McCaskey. There's such a mom and pop organization that in their little bubble echo chamber, they don't think anything of it. They think it's kitschy. They think it's cool. They're like, hey, we want to show them that we're a family run organization. We're not like corporate entities. We drive Ford Escorts to escort you. Screw those stupid limo companies and those tech companies like Lyft and Uber. We're going to show up in our Chevette and we're going to take you home. Like, it just is so stupid to me. And it just bothers me. And look, some coaches are going to take this job because they don't give a shit. They want to win football games. That's it. That's competition.
Or it might be the only chance they have too.
But you ain't gonna ever land a Jim Harbaugh or like a big name that does enjoy that me kind of thing by doing shit like that. And so they're always gonna be relegated to the dude that's desperate for the job instead of people that you can woo in. Chicago is a fantastic place when you're the boss.
Yes.
And they don't.
And when you win.
That. Yeah, and when you win. I mean, but they don't even use that. Like, God, Chicago be very, very happy. Yeah, they live in their own little world. And Chicago be very happy to celebrate this new hire. But we don't get to. We get the Midnight Express with freaking Robert De Niro and Charles Groban or whatever hopping through the airport late at night. I'm surprised. I mean, God, I'm surprised he didn't didn't sit down in like a little motorized cart and have the new guy push him around a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, here. I just want you to try this real quick as part of your interview process. Can you wheel me through the airport like you would wheel my mom up to the press box? So. I don't know. It's a bad optics in how they're doing it, but he should be celebrated when he walked into House Hall. It should have been a midnight sneak in. Like, it should have been something where, the jacket was cool. I'll give McCaskey that. The jacket was pretty pimp, but I don't know. I think to me it looks trash. It looks like you're a poverty franchise to me.
It looks like a Division III type of school of thing.
Yeah.
Is what it does.
Welcome to Wheaton College's football program, buddy.
Right. This ain't Alabama rolling up for a recruit. This is like, Northern Illinois getting meeting a recruit. Oh, let me take you to my courtesy card that has Northern Illinois Athletics on the door, for God's sakes.
Is it me or was there a story about Ryan Pace having to drive himself back to the airport after he got the job? I feel like somebody told me a story about Ryan Pace after he got the job. Had to drive himself to the airport to go home. Again, when is he on a car? Like, God.
Well, he had to take the hotel shuttle to get to Hallis Hall. So I wouldn't doubt he probably had to call a cab after to get on the plane to go back home to get his stuff. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
It's like, I tried to go to Soldier Field, but nobody's there. Yeah, well, no, you need to go to Lake Forest.
Lake Forest, yeah. It's about a good hour and a half away. If it's rush hour, 2.5.
But the hire itself,
yes,
it's a good hire. Yeah. I'm happy. And that is a good step for the Bears. I know you've been very critical of Ryan Pace, so you get another Ryan P to come on through here. Hopefully Pace is better, or Oles is better than Ace, right?
Yes.
So we'll see from
there. I'll say this: the one thing I really, really like about Poles being hired.
What you really like about Pole?
Yeah, is that he is an offensive lineman. So my hope is that he understands that football is won on the line, offense and defense. Because to me, the biggest issue I've had with the Bears the last few years, who's blocking for Trubisky? Who's blocking for Fields? Remember, we talked about this before the season even started. Don't put Fields in. You're just setting him up to fail because there's no one there to block for him. So I really am optimistic about Poles because he's an offensive lineman and he should understand that methodology. And not only that, I really am interested to see which direction he goes coaching. I keep hearing that he really wants Dan Quinn and that he's got a backdoor connection to Dan Quinn through Matt Ryan. because him and Matt Ryan played together at Boston College and were roommates, I guess. He was Matt Ryan's offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that is only the first step. I like the fact that he has connections with people. So he can pick up a phone and go, hey, Matt, be honest with me. Should I or shouldn't I? Give it to me straight and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Matt is a quarterback. And what is the most critical player on the Bears roster? Wouldn't it be the quarterback you just drafted?
Kicker.
Yeah. Well, this weekend proved kickers very vital. Yeah, Robbie Gould's washed up. Remember that.
It's kind of funny.
And can I just say one thing? The Pack won't be back in my lifetime.
Hello, $70 million having to get rid of just so you can not be over the cap. Not going to get Adams back.
Yeah.
Not getting Rodgers back. Bye.
And this past weekend was maybe the best weekend of football I ever saw. Every game was close. Every game was intense. And until the Chiefs won, all the dogs won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Chiefs theoretically should have lost if
yes.
a certain Bears head coach candidate that was basically cut off the list that night doesn't do something like, I don't know, maybe just intentionally hold everybody at the line and take the 10-yard penalty every single time. That would have whittled 13 seconds off the clock and they'd still be at the 50-yard line.
And not only that, but why did you kick the ball into the end zone? Why not do this like the 30-yard squib kick or whatever so that you're running time off the clock once the ball hits the ground?
Yep.
That whole 13-second sequence, I'm sitting there going, what are you doing? And the thing is, let's face it, the Bills did nothing wrong. The quarterback did nothing wrong except make the wrong call on the coin flip in OT. That's all.
Which is a whole different debate for a different day, too.
Yes.
Overtime.
Yes.
Everyone seems pretty passionate about that, but it's funny. You like it when it doesn't hurt your team and it helps your team.
Yes.
And you hate it when you realize that it hurts your team when that happens. But it was a bad, stupid. I should have called tails, man.
But as bad as that,
never
13, as bad as that 13 seconds of coaching was, and it was bad. There's no question it was bad. What the fuck was Vrabel doing in Tennessee? I mean, honestly, I'm watching that game sitting there going, dude, are you Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy out there? What are you doing? That 2-point conversion? That's how they lost the game.
Well, they lost the game by immediately coming out and instead of giving the ball to King Henry, throwing the football. Like Tannehill threw a pick like on his first play. And the most crucial, give the ball. And it was Henry wasn't getting great yards, but Henry is a guy that has to pound for a couple. He was like, remember A-Train?
Yes.
A-Train was like a 2 yards in a cloud of dust first half, started getting like 4 yards in the third quarter, and then started rips off 10 and 8, 7, 8, 10-yard runs. Yeah. Henry is different. Henry he does that. And then in the third quarter, fourth quarter, when they're all cooled down, he rips off 80-yard runs and he runs everybody over. You've got to let the guy do his thing. Instead, they threw the ball far too much. And the worst part is, what's his name? The second running back was just as or more effective than Derrick Henry. And you still keep putting the ball in the air. And in situations, they outcoached them. They overthought themselves. The Bengals did a great job. Good on the Bengals, but that was 100%. No reason that team should have lost that game when you have Derrick Henry. You could just pound the ball.
Well, and this is part of my, people come after me because I always say run to set up the pass is one of the dumbest things in the world. Because to me, you pass to try and set up the run so that at the end of the game, while these guys are gassed from running all over the place in contact, you then put a Derrick Henry out there and let him pound. He's still fresh.
Yeah.
And it's like the old saying in golf, you drive for show, you putt for dough. It's the same thing in football. You pass for show and you run for dough. You get the lead in the fourth quarter. That's when you hand the ball off. That's when you go, here you go, Derek. Here you go, Derek. That's just it. I mean, we were fortunate being in Chicago. We got to see, I don't care what anyone says, we got to see the greatest of all time. Peyton was a freak. He was a physically gifted freak. A lot of these other running backs are good. I'm not saying they're not, but they don't have the stamina that Peyton did. I remember that hill he used to run up. I saw other pros come here, guys like Jerry Rice, and try and run the hill with him and be gassed. That's how physically gifted he was. That's the whole point. You got to spread the field, because not only spreading the field gets them gassed because they got to run to catch up with people, but then at the end, when they're gassed from not only the contact on the line, but spreading the field, that's when you pop all these big runs. That's when you chew up yardage, run the clock, everything else. I just thought the game Vrabel called was, what in the world are you thinking? You're not Bill Belichick. You can't get away with this cutesy crap. And frankly, the more I see Joe Burrow, the more of a fan I become of Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Robbie Gould, who, by the way, a lot of Bears fans have been donating to Robbie Gould's foundation after he kicked the game-winning field goal.
It was the best line of the whole night.
Yeah.
First off, I mean, Robbie Gould kicks the game-winning field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Kittle, what is he?
George Kittle.
George Kittle, excuse me. Arlington Heights?
No, you're thinking of Garoppolo.
And Garoppolo is, he's from Rolling Meadows, and went to Rolling Meadows High School and was born in
Arlington Heights, wasn't he?
Is it not Arlington?
Downers?
Jimmy Garoppolo. I thought he was born in, maybe it was Arlington Heights. Maybe I'm going crazy. I thought for some reason it was because he went to Rolling Meadows High School. So yeah, okay, Arlington Heights. Yeah, he was born in Arlington Heights. Sorry, I'm an idiot. And then he went to Rolling Meadows High School and then Eastern Illinois. You got Kittle, who is from Madison, Wisconsin. Technically, is a Bears fan, and then went to high school in Norman, Oklahoma. And then went to college in Iowa, and is a Bears fan. So big would win. Garoppolo, Robbie Gould, who's a legend in Chicago. I know he's in Chicago too. And the game is over, and they come up, and I don't know which of those two said it between Jimmy G and Gold, but they slap hands and they hug, and he goes, "Fuck the Packers." And I could hear women across Chicago gush, and I could hear every male in Chicago doing the old vinegar strokes. Whoa, because
and
that
fist pump
right there,
and the fist pump.
At the same time, you need a Kleenex, and it was just such a moment. It was one of those. That was that fuck the Packers might be the perfect beginning of the end of the Packers as we know them. That moment when they said fuck the Packers, that was the end of it. It's over. I don't see the Packers contending for 3-4 years minimum. If Jordan Love is their answer, I don't see them competing at all. So that was a very, very nice moment. That was as Justin says in the chat, that was a panty dropper right there for sure. Yes. Nice. In the words of tweet.
Yes. Then you move on. Then you move on to Sunday, and the first game being the Rams and the Buccaneers. And I honestly thought, now that the Packers, the number one seed, and both number one seeds eliminated Saturday, which was, like, wow. I thought for sure the Buccaneers would be like, oh, this is a cakewalk for us now, because it's the Rams and it's Matthew Stafford who has that lion blood in him and will find a way to give the game away. And
not this week, though. Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
But you're right. That was my concern 100% going into the game.
The Rams tried to give the game away. Let's call it like it is. They tried to give the game away. But again, you had the GOAT basically leading the team back. And they talked about on the broadcast that, Brady's probably sitting there in the locker room at halftime going, I remember when I was down 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and he basically brought him back. And unfortunately, there was too much time on the clock. And what's his name? Cooper Kupp or whatever the hell his name is? The receiver?
Oh, you mean your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? My goodness gracious. Incredible. Cooper Kupp. Woof.
That final drive, that pass he reeled off for 50 yards to the 10-yard line or wherever the hell it was. You're like, good God, why can't the Bears ever find talent like this? I mean, honestly. And the Patriots went down. Now there's a lot of room, or the Patriots. I'm just so used to saying Patriots with Tom Brady. But the Buccaneers, yeah,
The Buccaneers.
but the Buccaneers went down. And now there's questions about, will Brady return? I guess only time will tell if Brady returns or not. I heard his post-game press conference, and I honestly believe for the first time he might be thinking about hanging it up because he just sounded different. Maybe it's the age catching up with him and everything else. But I think it would either way wouldn't surprise me as to whether or not he stays or goes.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing is, you got Brady doing what Brady does, which Brady, gets, he loses and they ask what's the future. And I love it. Brady says, flat out, he goes, hey, I gotta go home. I'm going to go sit and talk with my family, talk to my wife, talk to my kids, talk to the people that love me. I need to talk to my family about this decision. Yeah. That's what he says, right? Aaron Rodgers says, I need to go home and talk with my Oh, never mind.
No, his fiance, or is she out now?
No, she's still in, but she's currently out into the pastures of Wisconsin looking for feces from a cow that she can use into her makeup. Wait, my bad. She uses her own feces. I can never get it right. Yeah, she's a little bit weird. But yeah, no. Rodgers, on the other hand, is like, I'm not going to be a part of a rebuild. I'm going to shut up, Aaron Rodgers.
Mr. 40 over cap and everything else.
They're silencing me. Won't shut the fuck up. Okay. Yeah. You're not being silenced, dude. You were like literally on every channel right now. Shut your mouth, top knot. All right. Take your loss. You lost. You couldn't put up more than 10 points at home in Packer weather with a mediocre San Francisco defense. Boo-hoo, dude. All right.
And let's face it, a mediocre San Francisco offense too.
Yep. Go back to Hawaii and get what's his name punched in the face again because nobody likes you. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a weird dynamic. You see how Tom Brady goes out, and then you see how Aaron Rodgers goes out. And there's a reason why one is the greatest of all time, and the other reason why the other one's just a turd bucket floating in the Lambo toilet bowl of life. So that, you see how someone handles the adversity, and how they've handled losing. Losing teaches you all you need to know about someone's character. And damn well, if Rodgers hasn't done a bunch of it in the postseason, and he's a bitch every time. And that tells me everything I need to know about Aaron Rodgers. He's a sore baby loser who's privileged, came from California. Yeah, he's always been getting away with whatever he wants to get away with. He always is perceived to be smart to dumb people. Dumb people think he's smart, so he plays the idiot troll crowd. They love him, and wherever he's at, people think he's this genius guy. Guess what, bro? You won Celebrity Jeopardy. That's 3 steps lower than middle school Jeopardy when they do the middle school kid Jeopardies, okay? Okay, celebrities read off a teleprompter, bro. Not asking for much, okay? I think you went up against, like, I wish he would have gone against Burt Reynolds, but it would have been at least more entertaining. But that's who he is, though. And then you look at Tom Brady, like I'm going to talk to my family. This happens, and I'm going to make a decision that's best for me, and we'll go there. Rodgers, whine about me. Everyone hates the Packers because I didn't get vaccinated. So that's why everybody rooted against us. Hey, Aaron, if everybody's rooted against you for a reason, maybe shut the fuck up and listen, because we're trying to tell you something, asshole. But that's him. He's whining and crybaby, Mr. Victim mode. And it's just such an awesome contrast to see. Again, how you say goodbye or how you go out tells you everything you need to know about someone's character. And boy, has Aaron Rodgers gone out like a turd nugget. And I can't get enough of it. I used to like him. I did. He was my guilty pleasure. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know. Maybe he's getting older, maybe whatever. Or maybe he was just done putting on the act. But he's a dude. I mean, he is. You know why people were rooting against the Packers? A, because we don't like the Packers. But B, you're a douche. Like, vaccination or not, you're a douche. So I'm not rooting for it either way. You can go get an enema. You can go get a syringe in your arm. You could shoot yourself with enough B12 to kill an elephant. I don't care. You're a douchebag, Aaron. A douchebag. That's why I don't want the Packers to win. And also because they're the Packers. So that's kind of funny to watch those guys go out. But anyway, sorry, that was a little tirade.
And then there was the grand finale, and it was an incredible game. What was it? 25 points scored in the last 2 minutes.
They put up more points in the last 3 minutes of the football game than Matt Nagy averaged during his tenure as the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Yes. And as I said earlier, and I don't know if we had started yet or not, the only mistake Josh Allen made was calling it wrong on the coin flip. That's the only mistake that guy made. The game him and Mahomes had were both incredible. You figure when KC takes the lead with what, 1:05 left or whatever it was, you're going, does Buffalo have enough time? Sure shit, they did. Then it's 13 seconds left. And you're like, does Mahomes have enough time? Sure shit, they did. And again, I am not a fan of Leslie Frazier being the head coach of the Chicago Bears. It has nothing to do with Leslie Frazier, the person. It has to do with Leslie Frazier, the idea of, oh, he's an 85 Bear. He knows what it takes to win. The lazy argument you would get to appeal to the meathead fan base. How anyone would want to hire him after watching that defensive performance, especially with the last 13 seconds, is beyond me. To be completely honest. Well, first off, I would question the special teams as well, because why in the world would you kick that ball in the end zone? Why not squib it like 20, 30 yards down the field?
Or kick it at Jackson Mahomes' little fucking head.
Yeah, yes.
My bad.
And let the clock run as it's bouncing around, for God's sakes. To run time off.
Mm-hmm.
That I just did not understand that approach at all.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the soft zone, if you will, that the Bills ran on the first play. I understand that, but on the second play, it was like, you need to tighten it up a little bit. You're giving way too much cushion.
And Tyreek Hill,
too much.
What did you get? Like a 40? I mean, 40. I mean, that Tyreek. I mean, how do you let?
Yeah. Yep.
How do you let those weapons specifically get behind you? And then that's the problem. Is it was just there was no communication. But if it's ever been, this almost reminds me of how the hell do you get fired on your day off? He literally probably lost the Bears job, if we know the McCaskies like we do. He probably lost the Bears job in that 13 seconds cost him the Bears job, because
it very well could have.
Sure, the McCaskies were full dead set on making an argument that he should be the guy. And then when that 13 seconds happened, all their teeth fell out. They had nothing to say. It was just done. And I mean, really 13 seconds cost them, probably cost him a head coaching job, period. I'll be honest. I don't think he's going to get one now. I think that pretty much toasted him. And, I mean, you got to be better than that. And that's playoff football. But that was the most incredible. We were at your place, your favorite place. We were at Money Baby on Sunday watching it. And again,
we had the truffle wings and truffle pizza.
Bro, I fed myself. My mouth was red with the truffle sauce from the wings.
I'm doing the Homer drooling right now.
It was great too, because we had a $500 tab.
Mm-hmm.
So I drank pretty good. And so by the time when Kelsey caught that touchdown in overtime, and I had an anytime bet, so that won me like $50. Here's how bad I was Sunday. I thought I won $1,600. Well, actually, first I thought I won $3,000, and then I was told no, wrong. I'm like, okay, and then we won $1,600, but it was the group bet, so I only won $400. But I thought I'm Mr. Moneybags here, and so of course I'm like, I was so jacked on that Kelsey touchdown though. I'm like, oh yes, but it turned out, especially with the loss on the Buffalo slot machine, and then the Postmates fat burger, and then the lift ride home. And I pretty much only won like $400. So still, $400 is $400, but
I just heard you say the Buffalo slot machine, and I heard in my head that charging herd sound. And when you were talking about, I thought I won this, but it was this, I just had visions of Wally Money at Atomic flashing his wad, and then arguing with the bartender about Bacardi versus Captain.
His head down on the bar for like at least a bit.
And if you remember, we thought we lost him because he went to the bathroom and he didn't come back for 20 minutes. We're like, did he go sit on the pot and fall asleep?
Well, you said it. You knew he was going to go upstairs, put the money in the safe. The $6,000 he won on roulette in like 20 minutes. It was incredible. And then go put it in the safe and then just pass out. And that was right because we went across the street to Caesars and went and got our stogies and some whiskey and watched the Dodgers Giants. I think it was Dodgers Giants playoff.
And that was when we watched Alabama lose to Texas A&M too, because you had the Dodgers and Giants on one TV and Alabama and Texas A&M on the other, and you were arguing with the Dodger fan in the bar.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Well, of course I would. Why not? So here you go. Here's the sound, by the way. If you let me see if I can get this to work. Or is it going into? Oh, I got to turn on the Bluetooth. Turn it on. This is the sound of glory. Hold on. Here we go. Are you kidding me? Spin. Oh, I can't do that. Oh. Never mind. Oh,
just imagine a thundering herd of buffalo. That's what it sounds like.
And the sound of a guy going buffalo.
Whoa!
It's
you can't miss it. You cannot unhear it when you're walking through the casino floor. No matter where you are on the casino floor, you will hear the buffalo scream. And well, cut into the schedule a little bit. I noticed that Beef Loaf, who's fasting, by the way, good luck with that. Hopefully you don't eat a fucking salad when you're finished with your fast.
He did that today. Oh, here we go. By the way, now I can get it. This is the sound of utter glory. Hold on, wait for it. Gotta wait for it. Or not. Okay, this is getting frustrating.
Yeah, turn that off.
This is called me gambling. Oh, there, I won something. Oh, hold on, I need the.
That's right, folks. He's gambling while on the podcast.
Leave it to me to find a way to gamble on the podcast. I'm just trying to. Oh, wait. Nope, that wasn't it. That was close though. I got my hopes up. Nope, never mind. I can't get the damn buffalo. Again, it's such an iconic sound. It's like Pavlov's dog. I drool when I hear it when I walk through a casino. Sorry.
Yes. But we do have a couple of special announcements. Give you the first one right now, and we're going to give you the other one later. That's a tease. But
just tickling the ball a little bit.
Yes, the Tainted Glove Network. Notice the term, the Tainted Glove Network. That's right. It is growing. We're happy to announce that there are 2 new members of the Tainted Glove family, sort of like the Bears family. That would be, of course, Yumper and Doughboy, who have decided and have already recorded, my understanding, their first podcast of Yump and Zvo at the show. It is all you need to know about movies and entertainment. It is a passion of theirs. We've spent many a day talking about them doing this. We've talked to them about their favorite movies, our favorite movies, things of that nature. And I for one, am excited about this. I am just fucking jacked to hear this because these 2 guys, this is something they are incredibly passionate about. And there's no doubt you're going to hear that as they move forward with this.
And a big part of this too, guys. Look, we know a lot of podcasts pop up and all. The one thing that I think the 4 of us in discussions too, when we decided to kind of go with this and launch this, there are a lot of podcasts and a lot of personalities, I guess we'll call them, out there that like to take contrarian angles, even without conviction. They don't care. They're just saying stuff to piss you off, and they really don't believe what they say. We can give you our guarantee and our word that anytime you're listening to something on Tainted Glove or anything that's under the Tainted Glove umbrella, you're always going to get honest opinions. They're not here to troll. We're not going to take contrarian points just to get clicks. We are here. We're not bad guys. We're good guys. So we're going to take good guy radio to the extreme and play hard with honest opinions, just because, you know what, maybe we might agree. Oh, well, you know, it's not as conflictive, but these guys have great points and they have conviction. And that's the best part about it, is these are some really, you know, I'm so jacked because, again, Yumper and Svo, you know, obviously, you know, Pete and I, we've talked, you know, we've been doing this podcast for almost a year now. But what we, you know, we have these conversations, but with those guys, you know, Yumper's been, you know, ever since I've been on the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast with my guy Zoe and Aldo, Yumper's been our biggest supporter. And he's always on there. He's always, you know, been just a big fan. And to be able to now add Yumper to this, because Yumper and I have been messaging just as long, you know, as basically I've been doing the podcast. And so long-term relationships and friendships, you know, good stand-up dudes, talking stuff, guys with incredible span of knowledge, especially when it comes to film and television. I mean, these dudes, look, we can sit here and talk all day. And I have a really big ego when it comes to what I consider myself to have a pretty damn good film knowledge. These guys are right here with us. You know, I just would just say that I'm just because I'm older, I've seen more movies because I've been around the art longer. It's more of a math thing, but they're catching up. But these guys are great. So I'm really pumped to have these guys, and Pete is as well, to have them join us. You know, Yumper's going to tell us all about how much he loves menudo when he's hungover, and I'll tell him how much I don't like, you know, the stomach part of menudo. But he makes fun of me for that. But these guys are going to be great. So definitely tune in. We're going to be launching out. They're going to stream, I believe, through this account, through this YouTube account. They're in the process of creating the podcast delivery part of it. So that will be, they're going to have their own, but we're going to be pumping everything through the Tainted Glove Twitter as well. So this is all going to be really exciting. You know, Pete and I are going to show up on the show all the time. We're going to pull a Virginia McCaskey and pull some weight sooner or later. We feel like talking.
No, say it right. It's Ted Phillips, not Virginia McCaskey.
And to be clear, me and Pete did pick Justin and Yumper up at the airport last night to welcome them. It's already on Spotify. All right, good. So we will get you all that information. But yeah, we're pumped about this. And look, who knows where this goes? You know, these guys, give them the support. You know, we're not trying to build some sort of empire, guys. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but we just like good content. So if we can help someone do some good content and we can support them, and that's what we like to do, especially with White Sox Twitter, Cubs Twitter. There's a lot of support on social media as well. These guys deserve it. They're great dudes.
Yes.
And 100% vouch. Obviously, us, you know, working with them on this is a vouch into itself, because, you know, I turned down Kevin Sorbo for this. So
yeah,
I don't know.
He did.
I don't even know what the fuck that means, but whatever. Justin will be rewarded with Jack in the Box here in a couple weeks when he me, Pete, and Justin will all be out here in Vegas in a couple weeks.
And Walter.
And Wally and Burley Cat.
And King Nam will be out there too. That's right.
Nathan's.
Yeah.
He will not eat 5 hot dogs from Money Baby. Those wieners are Diggler style. They're huge. They're bigger than
I don't know. I've seen him do like 15 to 20. I've seen it, so I wouldn't put anything past him.
They use the those buns where they look like Texas toast hot dog buns. Oh, and I love them.
Yeah.
But
I just want the truffle wings and truffle pizza. That's all I want from there.
That lime dip. Oh
yeah. Yeah. If you're ever in Vegas and you get the chance, definitely go hit Money Baby. It's well worth it.
And I'm saying this too. They're no longer my girlfriend's client. I'm saying this because it's awesome. Now we had some Rams fans that were wasted drunk, and they were spending, their tab probably was about $6,000-7,000. They got the champagne mimosa fountain.
Oh God,
like $500, and they kept refilling that thing at least 3 or 4 times. All, you know, there was so much Botox just in their general area and filler that I mean, basically it was like a plastic surgery convention at that point. But dudes were so wasted. Dude had, at one point he ordered a bottle of Cuervo, I think, or whatever. He's standing on top of the speaker, drinking it just straight out of the bottle, like he's like we were like, wow. But it was a party and they were celebrating. But it's such a great place to watch games because there's TV. Yeah. It's a club in between timeouts. Instead of listening to commercials, they have a DJ. He just spins some pretty good stuff. I mean, and again, the food's delicious. I'm so hooked on a bloody mango carts. It's disturbing how much I love them. And I got that from the waitress when you were in town. She's like, try this. It's a bloody beer. It's a michelada.
Oh, that's right.
So it's mango cart michelada. It's and mango cart's like everywhere here right now. So
that's right. I forgot you got a couple of those that night. Yeah.
Here's the weird part, dude. On Sunday, I don't know if it was on purpose. I don't know. Maybe she was just whatever. She brought over at different times, brought over 3 more. We didn't order them. She's like, oops, the bartender made an extra one. So I figured maybe you'd like it. She brought 3 of them over. And now, mind you, this is a place where there's like $12 beers because it's way overpriced a lot of times with like drinks and stuff. But that's the one bad part about Money Baby. It's a little expensive. But I had 3 of those things on Sunday that were just free. Like, not free because it was comp, because she was like, hey, bartender figured you'd want one. I'm like, well, he figured, right? God dang it. So, but it's good stuff. So it's a good place to watch game. But there's always great places to watch games all over Vegas. But it's also great places to watch all over Chicago. I mean,
yeah.
It's fun to watch games in that social environment because it is the emotion being in that room with hundreds of other people when Travis Kelce caught that touchdown pass, or when Tyreek Hill,
broke that 40-yarder or whatever.
To get in the field goal range, or when Tom Brady, or when Akers fumbled and then Tom Brady got through the touchdown pass or whatever to was it to Fournette? Who did he throw it to?
No, it wasn't Evans. It wasn't Gronk.
Was it number 7?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
But the whole place erupted. I mean, there were so many eruptions. I mean, gosh, when Jared Allen threw the game, what should have been the game-winning touchdown, again, just insane. And I was high-fiving everybody. I high-fived Chiefs fans when the Chiefs did it. I was such a neutral party. I love football. I love football. I love football. I'm just going through, and I'm like, oh, Packer fan, fuck you. I love football. I love football. Look, as a Lions fan, somebody get this guy a drink, and then you keep going. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and like I said, with the fellas, adding them on, doing their thing, I agree with everything that Kev said. And the one thing I will say is they are incredibly, incredibly passionate about this.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a half-assed approach, if you want to put it that way. No, they're going to bring it. You may agree with them, you may not agree with them, but as Kevin said, it will be their opinions.
Mm-hmm. And production value is great. Their intro, the person that does their voiceover for the intro is far superior than that shitbag that we have doing ours.
Yeah, he's the worst.
My God, what a douche canoe.
But yeah, give them a listen, and and understand one thing: they're getting their legs under them. So as things move forward, it'll start out great, and it'll get even better as things go forward. So definitely give them a listen. We think you'll like it. And I'm sure that they'll be ripping on me for some of my, stay off my lawn movie likes and dislikes and things like that as well.
Yeah,
being the old man of the bunch.
Like when you told them they need to back off and stop insulting Twilight and how much you love it.
Hey now, Twilight is a modern American classic.
Skin sparkles like diamonds.
Yeah, it's a modern American classic. Don't be dissing on Twilight.
I mean, it is Batman now, so I guess we've gone full circle from vampires to bats, man.
Yes.
So
yes,
much better. Pumped about that. You and I watched that little scene from Batman, the new Batman, just to get that little taste, that little teaser they had with the funeral.
Yes.
I just wanted to see it. I didn't go to watch anything for spoilers. I just watched a little bit to see the look, and my God, it's gonna look good.
Yeah, it looks like, and I'm going geek here, and I know we got to move on, but it has a lot of look of the Frank Miller Dark Knight series. Mm-hmm. Also the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight series as well, which took a lot of its look from the Frank Miller stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. And Mailman Jack is correct. We will only take full-assed effort. We will not take a quarter-ass, half-ass, 3/4, not even 1/8 or 9/10. We want full. Yeah. You will watch On Golden Pond. Henry Fonda needs to. Yes, you will. Sorry. We actually
Henry Fonda, Oscar winner for On Golden Pond.
We might have a required viewing list.
Yeah,
it's in the contract. You didn't read the fine print at the bottom. That says Pete and Kevin get to choose your film every third week. So you have that third week. You have to watch what we tell you.
That's right.
You forgot about that one. Ishtar's coming up your ass, baby. Sorry. But
That's right. Get ready.
But so big announcement. So we're really happy about that. We're excited about that. So today,
and there is another one coming later.
We have another announcement a little bit further down the line.
Yes.
A little bit down the line.
Yep.
But the Hall of Fame today released its new class of, I guess, is it the class of 2022?
Yes.
And it was quite dramatic, and it struck a lot of nerves with a lot of people. One positive before we even move on, though, was Mark Burley did get enough votes to stay on the ballot again. So that will continue. But tell us what happened today, Pete. What happened with the Hall of Fame stuff?
So what happened with the Hall of Fame stuff? First, I'll start with Burley and the good news. And there's a little bit of bad news in there as well. Yes, the good news is Burley got like 5.8% of the vote. So he remains on the ballot and will be on there next year. The positive is if you really look at who the players coming up the next couple years, it's a shit show of players. There really, in my opinion, isn't a Hall of Famer until we get to Ichiro in 2025, I think it is. So there might be a lot of cleanup where players like Burley can gain ground, but only time will tell. But he is on the ballot for next year. That's the good news. Bad news is he dropped in his percentages. But the only Hall of Famer, the only person elected this year was David Ortiz, a.k.a. Big Papi. Now, a few weeks ago, I wrote a little article for our friends at From the 108, and they were kind enough to publish it for me. Basically, these sports writers are raging fucking hypocrites. Raging hypocrites. Because if I remember correctly, wasn't Big Papi's name mentioned in that 2003 performance-enhancing drug test that wasn't supposed to be released, but his name was released, as well as that of Roger Clemens, of Barry Bonds, of Sammy Sosa, and others. Now, my point is, sports writers, either you let all of them in or you let none of them in. You cannot selectively choose because Big Papi was a great guy and had a great personality, blah, 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 this and that. But, Barry Bonds was not a nice person and Roger Clemens was not a nice person. So we're going to leave them out, but we're going to put Big Papi in. Well, here's the thing. Let's stack Big Papi and Barry Bonds side by side. Guess what? It's no fucking contest who should be in the Hall of Fame. Do I think Barry Bonds is not a pleasant person and I can go with a lot more comments? Yes, absolutely. But that does not deter from the fact that in every statistical category, Barry Bonds blows away Big Papi. And I know he's cuddly Big Papi. Oh, he's cute. And I'll go one step further. You talk about the character clause. Why was Big Papi shot in the DR? Do you know the real reason why? Because the rumors have it that he was banging some drug lord's wife, and it was a hit. That's why Boston got him on a plane and flew him the fuck out of there. So don't give me the character clause or any of that other bullshit on this because you're raging fucking hypocrites. And I'll tell you what, I was watching the coverage on MLB Network today. Tom Verducci, king of the hypocrites. Oh, I voted for Big Papi, but I won't vote for the other guys.
It's
Fuck
virtue
you, hypocrite.
It's all virtue signaling. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Look, you're going to tell me Papi Sammy never officially tested positive.
That is true. But Sammy did cheat. Sammy did cheat, though. Sammy was caught cheating.
With the corked bat, sure.
Yes.
But Papi was a Packer fan, so there's also...
No, that was A-Rod. He was at the Packers game Saturday night.
Well, Papi was a Packer fan. He was adopted by Green Bay, I believe. They basically made him which makes no sense. But anyway,
well, he could wear the Packer uniform and look like fucking Shrek then.
Yeah, it's true. Now here's the problem that I have because Papi, if we eliminate steroids, we say no steroids, blah blah blah. Yes, Papi's a Hall of Famer, sure. But listen to this. Barry Bonds, 14-time Major League All-Star, 12-time Silver Slugger Award, 8-time Gold Glove Award winner, has nothing to do with steroids there, 7-time National League MVP, 3-time National League Hank Aaron Award, 2-time National League batting champion, 2-time National League home run leader. Major League records, 762 career home runs, 73 home runs in a single season, 2,558 freaking career walks, 7 MVPs, 232 walks in a season, including at one point he was walked with the bases loaded, .609 on base percentage in a single season, which is just off the charts, and an .863 slugging percentage in a single season. Now, a lot of those numbers came prior to him even moving to Pittsburgh, from Pittsburgh. He was already a stud before his head started growing into a giant pumpkin. So again, that doesn't get in. And it was because Barry Bonds didn't play the media game. Roger Clemens didn't play the media game. Sammy Sosa stopped playing the media game the minute they called him for his bullshit. But Poppy always was there rubbing elbows and buddying up. And good on Poppy for being smart enough to know that that's how you get in. It's the writers. And you buddy up to the people that can actually reward you for your work. But 100%, this is a byproduct of recency bias to go along with media coverage and how people were portrayed in the narratives in the media. Barry Bonds is exponentially a better baseball player in every single fucking facet of the game than David Ortiz. So I don't think the steroids, to me, steroids is so stupid. Look, they won't do shit to the freaking Houston Astros, Major League Baseball, for cheating. But we're going to worry about dudes that, like, curveballs. You're not going to hit a curveball with steroids. You're not going to, those are show muscles more than they are go muscles. They make you look good and they make you intimidating. But there is a hand-eye coordination and a swing, and Barry Bonds found the holy grail of swings long before any of the performance-enhancing garbage started to weed out. And it's disappointing. And you have Poppy, who, again, is celebrated. It's going to be very tough. But you'll notice this. Who was celebrated last week when they retired? Former Boston Red Sox, John Lester, David Ortiz. There's the bias with the Bristol family, the Bristol people, that whole far East Coast, the Bostons and the Connecticut's that are all kind of in that little family, the ESPN family. They built the Poppy because Boston, It's kind of funny too. I wonder if had Roger Clemens left and stayed, or not left Boston, had stayed in Boston, would he have been in the Hall of Fame now because he would have been still a Red Sox pitcher instead of someone who went elsewhere and finished elsewhere?
That's a great point, because I was immediately going to say yes, because I think some of that stuff might have gotten swept under the rug. And don't forget with Clemens, there's other questions besides his PED usage. There's the whole Mindy McCreary thing, which is seedy, and I'm not going to get into here, but it's very seedy and very unpleasant, to say the least. With all that went down. If you don't know what the Mindy McCreary thing is, like I said, I'm not going into it here. Google it.
Yeah.
Just Google Roger Clemens, Mindy McCreary. Just Google it.
We'll just say that Roger apparently allegedly tried to do his best Jerry Lee Lewis impersonation.
Yes, to say the least. Jerry Lee Lewis and Epstein as well.
Yes. So there's that.
Yep. Yes.
But, so it looks. Is it just Poppy that got into?
It was just Poppy to go with the 6 that were named through the committees in December.
Okay. Well, that's going to be such a downer for. I think it's going to be a downer for a lot of people, but Burley being on the. I think I'm glad, kind of in a weird way, that Burley's still on the ballot. It would have been pretty disappointing for Sox fans to celebrate some of the older Sox through the.
AJ Pierzynski didn't make it. He fell below the 5% threshold.
And Michael Barrett was the one that punched him there. So that's a good. Oh,
but looking at it, and the thing is, first off, I'll say this: anyone who has not had the chance to go out to Cooperstown, definitely, and you're a baseball fan, you definitely need to go. It's well worth it. Now, for induction weekends, it's an absolute zoo. The one redeeming factor of Big Poppy being the only person who gets in is that Boston is a 3-hour drive from Cooperstown. So if you go there for the weekend, you probably won't have to deal with all the Boston fans as much as, say, if, someone from the Dodgers got in, or Houston, or whatever it may be. because they'll drive up, and this is what happens with the Yankees too. They drive up in the morning and leave after the ceremony. So it's nice that the town won't be as crowded as it usually is, except on Sunday for the ceremony. And I think baseball, to be honest with you, I think what baseball should do is have the ceremony either Saturday night or on Sunday earlier before the games start, and let the stadiums open and let the fans sit in the stadiums and watch the ceremony, especially if they have a member of their organization going in. And I'll use the most recent examples, like Frank Thomas with the White Sox.
Mhm.
How awesome would it have been if the ballpark was open where you could go watch the ceremony on the scoreboard and then see a game? I mean, I think baseball's done the right thing with starting all the games on the last day of the season at 2:00 in the afternoon. I think that's been a great move. I think they need to do more. And again, let's get into it real quick. Sounds like negotiations are ongoing between the players union and the owners. There is no agreement yet, but it sounds like they are moving at a glacial pace, but there has been some progress on things. And of course, let me also add this to our good friend Beef Loaf. He was bloodied and battered again by Jeff Passan.
Beef. Like, I'm starting to think that you're just a masochist and you just love punishment because you got murdered. I mean,
Again.
Is it possible to get double murdered?
Well, remember, it's like double jeopardy. Isn't that the whole point? You can't be tried for murder a second time.
It's like he stabbed you, right? And then he kept you inside like the seal, and poured the Holy Grail water on top of your wound, and then moved you beyond the seal and then stabbed you fucking again. Like, I'm gonna bring him back just to kill him. Pulled you from the depths of hell one more time just to stab you, so he double murdered. But that was, that's entertaining. Yeah. He was wearing the Wave Sox sweatshirt though. So
yes, he was, which is an awesome sight that he was wearing Wave Sox. And if you haven't gotten a Wave Sox sweatshirt or hoodie, it was actually a Wave Sox hoodie he was wearing. But if you don't know what we're talking about, go to the 108 merch store. After Jeff Passan appeared wearing the Wave Sox hoodie, it was a hot item, and they've been flying off the shelves. So don't have FOMO. Don't have the fear of missing out and not getting one. Get your ass over there and get one.
I found it hilarious that the tweet that actually showed him in the Wave Sox sweatshirt was actually in Spanish.
Yes.
So I had to use the translation mode to even read what the tweet was about. But all I saw was Wave Sox on his shirt. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But
yes. But definitely get there and do it. And also remember one other thing, people. Last week, Beef and Chirizi gave a rundown of the status of the 108 tourney. It is coming. I believe the reveal show will be March 13th. One of the greatest features, this thing that they're doing this year in the tourney, I think is incredible, to be honest. There is a bracket, there's a dedicated bracket to White Sox Twitter followers who have under 1,000 people following them. And Beefloaf just messaged us. It's March 10th when the tourney reveal show is. But what they are doing is they are creating an entire bracket of people with less than 1,000 follows for the sole purpose, well, for two purposes, really. First, to get that follow count up for them because they are part of White Sox Twitter. Let's get them out there. Let's see who they are. It might be someone that you wind up following and you think this person's great, or it might be someone you wind up following and you go, this person's an idiot. Whatever. But let's get them out there. Let the people see them. That's the first part. The second part is someone in that bracket will make it to the Elite Eight. Automatically guaranteed, because one of the problems in the past, I don't want to say problem, but one of the things in the past is...
Oh, here comes the criticism, Beef. Buckle up, Beef. Here it comes.
It's not a criticism. It's a thing.
When someone always prefaces something with "I have a blank butt,"
yeah. Well, tell me about your big butt. And for those of you who don't know, a classic line from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. There was always, you always had people like White Sox Dave who advanced because they had such a large following. You look at the people who generally advance, they had a large following. And you had some other people, and I'll use Summer of George as an example, who made their name in the tourney one year, capitalized on that, and moved forward to grow their count. And then eventually last year were the winners of the 108 tourney. I'm not about to eviscerate. What are you talking about, Sal? For God's sakes, man. Come on, man. But so definitely go out there, check out the video that Beef and Chirizi posted about. It's not only the history of the 108 tourney, but it's also the plans on how it's going to work out. And I think it's going to be a great thing because if there's baseball, it'll be great. If there isn't baseball because they're still in a lockout, it may be even better because it will be a welcome distraction from the billionaires and millionaires fighting about money and everything else. So I think the 108 tourney has been a brilliant thing that Beef Loaf invented in his head. I honestly can say I don't think he expected it to take off the way it did, as quick as it did. Because I was part of the first year tourney and I was shocked at some of the responses, the
like
volume of response that was received.
It was like an early version of the NIT.
Yes, exactly.
We have 7 teams. All right,
Yeah.
great.
But remember, there are, and we've just been told that there are 12 versions of the bracket that have gone to the nomination committee. I'm not going to say who the nomination committee is, easy MSS, but they have it and they are reviewing it as we speak. Now,
So
whether
if you
or
want
not they respond, who knows?
Based on that cough too, if you want to influence one of those two, just make sure you get their AOL for your Venmo.
Yes.
They have an AOL account that you can Venmo them through their AOL.
And one of them likes fresh IPA beer. Don't give them old IPA beer. It's got to be fresh.
One of them used to live on the West Coast for a second. I don't know if you ever even mentioned that, but he used to live on the West Coast.
Used to live on the West Coast. That's right.
Who'd have thunk it, really? Grapefruit rosemary for my man Pete, by the way.
There you go.
It's a pink high boy. But you know the best part, if you're obviously doing the you're a part of the, if you are someone that's selected for the tournament too, got to tell you it's exhausting for you if you want to put in, if you really want to advance. It's about content and lots of content and doing shit. I did enough videos, and I had a onesie. I had like 6 onesies last year that I was ready to rock. I don't know. I think I only got through 3 onesies, maybe 4. I think I even wore a wig at one point. And then I just started doing the news reports afterwards, after I was knocked out, doing just my weekly, my lucky endorsements, which I feel like my endorsements did pretty well. But
they did.
I had a whole TV studio at school that I could record like a news broadcast and do like my recaps. So I also did some recaps in endorsements from Cabo, from a balcony in Cabo on the beach, Cabo. So I had some fun with it. I had a blast. This, the first year I was just for Zoe. Obviously Southside Zoe with my friend with the Pin Was an Ivy podcast. And so I caught the bug that year, helping him out, just doing stupid stuff with him. And then you've got, I was lucky enough to be in the play-in round as a Cub fan, which is really rad. That was rad enough for me. Like that was fucking sweet. And I could just, Summer of George probably has needed 6 months to recover from making a run like that because of the amount of time, effort, interaction. You're earning votes with how you interact with people just as much. And it's just such a cool thing to see people showcase what they do too. I mean, there's probably going to be someone that's going to sing karaoke on there. There's going to be a lot of cameos. The 108 guys have a Cameo account, right?
Yes.
I have a Cameo account. It's $4. No, I don't have a Cameo, but it's a camera.
I have already, one person has already reached out to me for an endorsement for the 108 tourney. And I have told this person that I would be more than happy to endorse them. So at some point I need to make a video for this person.
How long ago did Beef ask?
That was the day after he lost last year.
such a great experience, though. So get ready for that. That's coming in about a month and some change. It's a great time for social media. And it can get a little bit ugly sometimes.
Unfortunately,
on occasion, people get butt hurt on they don't understand that everything that's done is tongue in cheek. Like,
right.
But we can always blame Jordan Miller for everything. It's always Jordan's fault. He killed Tupac, did you know? And he had some strange dreams about being attacked by agnostic. Oh my God. I think he said he had a dream that he was attacked by agnostic Hasidic Jews. And he's Jewish. So he was trying to figure out what him and Bruhan Luke, actually, he was trying to figure out what he did because he obviously is Jewish. He's like, why am I being attacked by agnostic? Maybe it was because they were agnostic. I don't know, but I don't know. How did he gauge that they were agnostic when he was talking about his dream? I was really confused in that. Did he stop to ask them, hey, why are you attacking me? We're agnostic. We are. Reminded me of Lebowski. We're nihilists.
But and Sal, I see your message. Anyone but MSS. You know damn well that MSS always has my support and backing, and I will do an endorsement for him any day of the week.
It's the same with Mailman Jack getting the endorsement from Hank.
Yes.
Power Bottom from next door from South Zoe. He's also that's heavy hitting. You mess with Hank, you end up, in
a car trunk.
Yeah, you end up getting taken somewhere.
Yes.
For a quick ride. Mm-hmm. You go to college. But yeah, it's gonna be a blast. I'm real pumped about that. So and speaking of wooing and trying to impress people that perhaps are total strangers or at least pretty close to strangers. I had a little bit of an event this morning.
That's right.
I figure I want to maybe use that as a nice little segue. Mm-hmm. So obviously, we've talked about it on the show. My girlfriend and I, we've been together for 4 years, a little more than 4 years now. And I've got the engagement ring. That was a couple episodes ago. And that's sitting here hidden in the safe that she can't get access to. Nice and safe and no pun intended. So the next step in this whole process, I've never met her dad. He lives in upstate New York.
He lives in Buffalo, doesn't he?
Upstate New York, not totally Buffalo, but Mexico, New York, basically, which is South Texas, New York, which is basically what some of the oldest towns in America, based all the way back to the Revolutionary War. And so I've only gotten to talk to him on a Zoom on holidays. And of course, on the holiday Zooms, there's like 8 people in the Zoom, so nobody's really talking. He's a gruff dude too. He's an old safety control and inspector for nuclear power plants. So he does a lot of he's a smart guy, but he's also he was ice fishing this morning, for God's sakes. He's just out there. So I was a little nervous, and I haven't gotten to meet him. We're going to see him this summer, but every time I've gone to go visit out there, he's been out of town, unfortunately. So I've never gotten a chance to kind of like hang and whatever with him. So obviously, having the engagement ring, it's time for me to propose. I'm old fashioned, so I had to get his. I couldn't move on without getting his blessing and asking, going the old fashioned route and making sure that I asked for his daughter's hand in marriage, which, that might be something that it's lost on today society. I know that it was going to get, my future brother-in-law was laughing at me because he's like, I just told him I was marrying her. He's like, great. Now you're the new popular, now you're the popular son-in-law. I'm like, yeah, bitch. And they helped him with it. It was great. They helped me get him on a Zoom today. So I wanted to get him on and talk to him. And so funny. I practiced this speech about 1,000 times. I'm in the shower practicing it. I'm on the car ride to school practicing it. I'm at the gym practicing it. I'm in my head just thinking of how can I tell this guy that I want to take care of his daughter for the rest of my life and beyond, and that I love her and that she's amazing and I promise to take care of her and be the best husband I could possibly be, et cetera, et cetera. And so I have this whole elaborate speech and I'm like, yes, okay. It sounded great. I get about 4 sentences into this thing and he goes, are you going to ask if you could have Carrie's hand in marriage? And I'm like, flustered. And at this point, palms are sweating, armpits are sweating. It's like that time you pick up your freshman year homecoming date. Your mom's in the car waiting for you to drive you, and you've got to go to the door, and dad's waiting there with like a scissors or like, he shows you the gun. And so that was that kind of like nervousness. And I'm just like freaking out. And he's like, stops me. He's like, are you asking for Carrie's hand in marriage? I'm like, well, yeah. I was going to do a whole speech. He goes, don't waste your time. I'm like, oh, shit. Here we go. He goes, Carrie loves you. She's a very big fan of you. He goes, and you didn't have to ask. He goes, but tell you what, I really appreciate. And all of a sudden, and again, this is like, you ever seen that, like those Bill Belichick things where they're like, this is Bill Belichick smiling, and he's like, stone face. That was it. And so his Carrie's sister, Natalie, she was like, she's like, that is the most emotion I've seen my dad show in so long. I'm like, oh, okay. But it was great. So yeah, he gave it to me, but it terrified me because again, I mean, I think I was more scared of that than proposal. I know her answer. And I mean, I assumed he would say yes. I mean, what the hell? But that was the whatever. It was an experience that took me back to I don't get super awkward very often. I'm pretty stupid in that sense. That was terrifying. But I will say this: if you're ever thinking of marrying somebody, I think it's a good idea to go for that and ask that. And then if they say no, you can tell them to shove it and then still marry her, but or knock her up and then you're like, I don't know, I got no choice now, buddy. I'm gonna meet him again. I'm gonna meet him this summer though. So we're gonna go. He told me we're gonna go fishing, and I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, I have a really nice canoe. And then I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm Fredo, aren't I? So we'll see.
Why, you banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time?
Oh, such a good film. And that's coming out here in theaters in a couple weeks on a 40th anniversary edition.
50th anniversary of The Godfather coming back to the big screen at the end of February. And as the true geek that I am, I have already purchased tickets for a Saturday afternoon screening the weekend it comes out.
Awesome. By the way, Beef did recommend I should have met him in person and arm wrestled Carrie's dad. Look, Beef, I'd have worn a hat. Then I would have turned it backwards. And then I would have won. You know why? Because turning your hat backwards means you're going to win an arm wrestling championship.
Well, wouldn't you have some Kenny Loggins music or some Sammy Hagar music playing in the background?
I don't make the rules. Hawk Trucking taught me everything I know about arm wrestling. So there's the chat finally.
Yes.
I think you guys are sick.
Beef gets it too. He knows exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah. And when you're gonna actually like win, you've got to make sure your lips look like when you do it, because if you don't,
you got to let out the grunt too, don't you? While you're doing it.
Ew. God. Oh, Sly. That's such a great film. Classic, really. Yes. But so that was that story. So as we kind of segue around, speaking of movies too, we jumped into this a little bit. Yeah. Peacemaker right now on HBO Max is a spinoff of the Suicide Squad, the new Suicide Squad, which was also kind of a sort of spinoff from the previous Suicide Squad from Airs. And now this one, the new Suicide Squad was directed by James Gunn. James Gunn did, Guardians of the Galaxy is what you would know him for. But he also is a Toxic Avenger. He was part of the Trauma universe for a while. Very, very silly. I think James Gunn, one of my favorite James Gunn film was what's the movie where they're all Slither, where everyone's getting infested with the little like these little slugs that get into them and take over, like body snatcher stuff, but it's crass and funny and stupid. And so he's directed a ton of stuff, but Peacemaker is a spinoff of characters, Peacemaker from that new Suicide Squad, which is fantastic, by the way. Great R-rated entertainment. Pete Davidson's character is fantastic. I think he hooks up with Kate Beckinsale in the movie. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That's real life. My fault. That's him basically with everybody.
Kate Beckinsale. Is that the latest conquest for
No, that was a couple months ago.
Okay, gotcha.
He's got a lot. Yeah, Elizabeth Banks is in it, but and Slither, by the way. But anyway, so the spinoff Peacemaker is the character Peacemaker after what happens at the end of Suicide Squad. So it's such a I thought it was going to be kind of stupid, but it's James Gunn. So you're like, let's give it a shot. James Gunn directed a couple of the episodes too. And John Cena is Peacemaker. And then there's obviously some side, other cast members, but not a lot of like names. And every single episode gets better and better. They develop the characters to be likable and evolve, and they're living and they're breathing. And it's actually a fantastic show. And it has now become the highest rated critically DC EU, which is the DC Extended Universe property, period. Now, I think Wonder Woman, Shazam, they were kind of sitting at the top. Even Aquaman was there. So Peacemaker basically has jumped in this show is fantastic. If you haven't get a chance to watch it, it is, you can right now, I think there's 4 or 5 episodes. I think it's 4 episodes. The most recent episode, of course, titled The Chode Less Traveled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about with the show. It's incredible. It is it's fantastic, lowbrow, great sarcastic humor, and it's worth a watch. So if you get a chance, have you gotten to watch that yet, Pete?
I have not.
Okay, but you did see the Suicide Squad, the new one. That
Yes.
came out. Okay, so
Yes.
it's
I thought that the new Suicide Squad was much better than the first one.
right.
I did not like the first one at all.
That was from
I
Ayer.
thought the only redeeming factor was what's her name? God, I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. Yes, thank you. And Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn because Margot Robbie's always nice to look at.
Right. So that's a good one. Another one that came out, because really there's no movies coming out right now, guys. This is January. We've talked about it, I think, in the show before. January is basically where everybody drops the movies that they have in the can that if they don't release them, they lose the property rights to them. So we're getting we had Scream, which was good, was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But really
the 355, which
terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful. That one's got 11% fresh rating too. Even so, really. So there's nothing really coming out over the next couple. Like this week is rough. Like Carrie actually wants to go to she's like, let's go see a movie this weekend. I'm like, okay, what? Because I've seen all of them.
Have you seen The Tragedy of Macbeth yet?
Loved it. Saw it in theaters. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we talked about it here on the show.
Yeah.
I think for that I saw in theaters on opening day. That was incredible. And it's on Apple TV Plus now if you have that.
Yes.
So but I would actually recommend the cinema because it's actually shot in 4:3 aspect ratio. So it's a lot more compressed shot, and it's filmed on it's the first time that Ethan Coen has ever filmed on a soundstage. So he's always filmed out in a normal environment. They don't use sound stages. So he filmed the entire film on a set that was built on the soundstage, and it's incredible set. The performance by the woman that plays the three witches, three sisters. Woohoo! She should win Best Supporting Actress, or at least get nominated for one. Because I don't know, I'm still hooked on what's her name from West Side Story, but real good. That's a good one. But yeah, there's nothing really coming out right now. So
yeah.
But a big thing, a big release just occurred a couple of days ago on Netflix. Ozark season 4, the first half of season 4, which is only 7 episodes. There's a second half coming this fall. Ozark season 4 dropped. So I actually got Carrie's out of town for a couple of days, so I binge watched the hell out of that. And today I watched the finale, and I'm still shook. At this point, I'm shook. The show is fantastic. I think it's past Breaking Bad for me, and that sounds like blasphemy.
Wow.
Wow. If it hasn't passed it, it's really damn close. And these last 7 episodes could be could really make or break it, that argument. But so I recommend it if you're a fan of the show and you haven't gotten started watching. I don't want to spoil a darn thing. I just know this, and if you watch the show, you know this. This is a show where murder is so quick. There's no stupid, eloquent speeches. Dudes just will pull their gun out, and next thing you know, there's a bullet hole in a guy's head. Like you're like, like shocked. There's no like dastardly speech. Like, hey, sorry about your friend.
You mean there's no James Bond villain speech saying,
right,
with you out of the way, I'm going to do this, this, and this.
They just get to work, and it's with the coldness of the cartel and then that illegal illicit drug trade. It's just and Jason Bateman plays the his character so well. I'm a huge fan of Bateman. His wife Laura Linney, she's fantastic. She's terrifying. The woman that plays Darlene is great too. Darlene, the older lady that runs the meth farm or whatever. And then what's her name? Trudy? I forget. The girl that's kind of taken under Jason Bateman's wing, but now they're having their stories playing out or whatever. Just a great show. And if you're a big fan of the show, dig in and buckle up because I started watching the first episode yesterday. I finished it today. That's all and I went to Mystere last night. I went to a show at 9:30 last night at Treasure Island, the Mystere show, the Cirque du Soleil. So I found ways in my day to finish that dang thing. Just because I can't stop. It was very good. So I recommend it. See if you get a chance. Have you watched anything cool lately?
I really haven't. Just some stuff going on with work and then, football and everything else. So I really haven't. I do want to watch The Tragedy of Macbeth. I do want to get down and watch that. Aside from that, not really. I mean, the Hall of Fame and, all the Hall of Fame press coverage today I watched and was just like, God, quit sucking his dick.
Mailman Jack asks a great question. Have you guys heard about the Weird Al movie? Yes, the one that's
yes.
Daniel Ratliff, Harry Potter will be playing Weird Al.
Weird Al. Yeah.
That'll be. I think it's a Hulu film too. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
Hulu. Don't sleep on the Hulu films. Palm Springs was one of my favorite films of 2021. Was it 2020 or 21? I can't remember what year it came out.
20, I believe.
20. And then there's another one that came out with shit. It's basically Groundhog Day, but it's an action movie with oh god, what's his name? He's in Winter Soldier. He's in the Marvel. He plays. Oh, what's his name? He's the bad guy.
Is he the Winter Soldier or
No, not Winter Soldier. Gosh darn it!
it ain't Robert Redford, is it?
No. Dude that blows up. The grenade blows up, and he's scarred, and he shows back up. And in the beginning of the Avengers, Civil War, he blows up the.
He blows up the building that causes all the grief.
Grillo.
Yes.
Frank Grillo. And it's a fantastic film. I think it's called. It's like a video game name. It always reminded me of a video game name. Boss Level. It's called Boss Level. And basically, the way it's Boss Level is because he wakes up every day and he wakes up to a dude attacking him with a samurai sword in his bed while he's sleeping next to a woman. And his day starts. And every day, like, he escapes that, but then he gets blown up by a helicopter 4 seconds later. So it's basically him trying to figure out how to maneuver through his day without dying to find out what the heck is going on because the day keeps repeating. But the boss level thing is, like when you put a quarter into a video game and you finish a level and then you die and you could at least start on that level. You got to get to the boss level. So it's like, it's a fun little like play on that, but he like basically trains himself to, it's actually really funny, really gory, but it's called Boss Level. If you get a chance to see that, Frank Grillo but he's a good dude. He was on a film shoot I was actually on a couple years ago, and he's a really nice dude, actually. But yeah, there's the Tom and Pam and Tommy movie coming out on Hulu as well.
That ought to be really interesting. Did you see the Motley Crue movie?
Yep.
On Netflix.
That was when Ozzy snorts ants.
Yes, and drinks urine. But
that sounds like Shailene Woodley's regiment.
Yeah, well, she's trying to keep Aaron in peak physical shape. Unlike that Tom Brady guy who drinks 180 ounces of water a day or whatever the hell it is.
Jeez, Pete.
I'm like, dude, how the fuck do you sleep? Because I'd be running to the bathroom to piss all the time.
Yeah, that's going to bed wearing a pair. Like, it depends.
Yeah, you need to, exactly. But we do have, we're running towards the end here. We do have a couple of other special announcements. The first being that we will soon be having a special guest. We are working right now to coordinate schedule with the guest, but it is someone that you will want to hear. And there will be some questions asked of this person. Would that be a fair statement to make?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah. The second announcement is that, as you heard us mention earlier about the Tainted Glove Network, there is also another person who will be not doing his own podcast, but will be jumping on and helping us by lending his expertise in a certain field that I have come to refer to as, people making left-hand turns. So we will be having a special NASCAR correspondent. That's right. Yeah, Dog is going to jump on and talk about NASCAR with us. He's going to go over what the race schedule looks like, the importance of Daytona, the importance of Indy 500, and whatever other nuggets of wisdom that may pop in.
Mm-hmm. And Pete's going to wear every second of it with his ill feelings towards NASCAR itself. I'm going to really throw him for a loop, though, and ask him about Formula One. Wait, no, never mind. But you know about drag racing? But yeah, we're going to have some Yeah Dog on here. So we're going to have, we already get Yeah Dog at the beginning and the end of each podcast, because I have a collection of voicemails over the last couple of weeks. He's now sent me, so we have some more. I love it. NASCAR. I mean, these, and if you haven't listened to our show, if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, you've heard these, but they start every show with some sort of Yeah Dog. Well, just for context, these voicemails aren't coming at like 2 p.m. Oh, no. I wake up and I have a bunch of push notices on the Anchor app that tells me that there were like 13 voicemails left between 2:30 a.m. and 45 a.m. And I'm like, okay. Well, I'm like, wait. Now he was messaging me at like midnight. It's like on a Tuesday, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, where does he? I don't know. I don't think he sleeps. I don't think he sleeps. He might be a vampire. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. He's like a dog, this one vampire, but he doesn't suck blood. He just, it's old style.
Yeah. And to your point about, I get messages from him all hours of the night. Mm-hmm. And basically when we were talking about doing this, I reached out to him, and the messaging probably took place at like 1:30 in the morning, something like that, about this, because I sent it originally, and I woke up because, Mother Nature called, and there was a message from him, and it just went from there.
Cool. Him and I have been on a Zoom. Him and I think, went on a Zoom one time at like 3 a.m. on like a Friday night, or actually a Saturday morning.
Yeah, he did. There was one day he did a Twitter Spaces. It was a Friday because we were at Beef's house before a Sox game, and he was on Twitter Spaces, and we sat at Beef's house and listened to his Twitter Spaces and just couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, hilarious.
So, definitely pay attention to that, because yes, I will be wearing a lot of grief for my stance on NASCAR. I see Sal in the comments as well, and Sal is another one who has given me a lot of grief about my stances on NASCAR, because I don't really think it's a sport, because all you got is people making left-hand turns, and they don't even use a fucking turn signal either. So,
and Dog, I'm sure in that episode, him and I will discuss at some point, our quest to get Jose Canseco to follow me on Twitter.
Yes.
Everyone else right now has been going after Jim McMahon. Jose Canseco has been as elusive as a ninja for me. My buddy sold him his house. I still can't get a Jose Canseco follow. I love Sasquatches and aliens, and I can't get a Jose Canseco follow. So me and Yada have been working on. Yada even added him to our group chat at one point.
That's right.
We had a blue check mark in our Jose Canseco blue check mark in our group chat, because they never answered.
But I think that what you need to do is reach out to him and talk to him on his level. Bigfoot, and ask him what it was like to bang Madonna. Stuff like that.
And then end it with an A-Rod sucks.
Yes, and then yes, A-Rod sucks. I don't think he's the biggest Ivan Rodriguez fan either.
He really hates A-Rod. Like, he wakes up and says, "Good morning, everybody, but Alex Rodriguez, who can go fuck himself."
Yes, I've read both of his books. Yeah, he really doesn't like A-Rod.
Yeah, and we got to get Jim Man. We got to get the Punky QB to follow you on Twitter. We need that. That needs to happen. Yeah. He's following a lot of accounts that are a lot younger and don't have any idea who the hell he is.
Right.
A lot of coconuts. So with that, we got that coming down the line. So we're pretty pumped, and we appreciate you guys jumping in here with us and enjoying this, and hopefully we're giving you guys some content that you like. But we're really excited with Yumper and with Zvo. Gonna get some great content there. Sooner or later, we're probably gonna have to start a Mailman Jack live from the streets video.
His would be live from the route.
Live from the route. Yeah, we're gonna have, and Jack he could interview people and like ask them trivia questions and give them $1 if they answer it right.
Yeah.
Or just high fives, because those are free. And then we're really excited about everything coming down the line, though, and we do appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen tonight as well. Or if you're listening on the other streaming formats, but do make sure you smash that like button.
That's right.
Smash
Subscribe
the like button
on YouTube.
Yep. Follow us. Review us if you're on iTunes. Give us one of them 5-star reviews. If it's, I don't know if it can you, is it 5 or 4? I don't know, but I know just for me, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. This is another playoff weekend, so we should get some pretty good football on Sunday at least, and we'll be off and running. So I have Chiefs Rams Super Bowl, so that's where I'm going to go with that. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Pete, why don't you take us on out and give us your final thoughts?
I know a couple people who will be very upset if I say Rams. So I'm going to go 49ers. I know Svo won't be happy with that because of the other person who is a 49er fan, and they're in a little love-hate relationship thing going right now. Uh, but I like the Bengals to pull off the upset. I really do. Don't ask me why. I really do. I just think KC might have blew their wad this past weekend and might get a little lackadaisical. But I've been known to be wrong before. Never bet what I say because when it comes to football, I am a mush. So really, if I say take this team, probably bet against me. You'll probably win money. Golf and baseball, don't. But football, yeah, bet against me. So with that, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for following. Feel free to give us your comments, your likes, your dislikes. Tell us we're great. Tell us we suck. Sal, fuck you. And then from there, let's just everybody get ready for the 108 tourney. It's going to be a good time. Let's be kind and cordial to each other, but also a little cutthroat. It is fun after all. So let's just have fun with it, but don't get carried away with it. And with that, it's time for some nuggets of wisdom from the one and only Yeah Dog. And with that, aloha.